Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd get another video out, kind of showing you some updates and some things I've been working on, and then there's been some more module stuff going on too. Start with, I got kind of a base coat of textures on this SV, at least on the top side. The bottom is yet unfinished, and so is the back right now. And basically, I'm just kind of building this to, I don't know, have a SV where I could like do some kind of interior on. Now I got to start doing the interior yet, but it's getting there. And this is inside of Reforged Eden creative scenario. And just to take it up and about, it does fly all right. Here, just stay in first person. You can kind of see about what I'm getting on handling here. So I'm trying to roll right now, and I can do, here, I'll get the screen on here. I can do 70 ms currently. Now, it'll get heavier because after the interior is put in and more parts. But this is a fairly lightweight design. And I'm thinking what I'll probably do, I don't know exactly on function on it, though. That's I'm a little bit not sure on what to do with function. I don't think it would make a very good combat ship. Doesn't really have enough lift thrust at the time to be like a great storage ship, and I don't think anybody's using SVs for storage anyway. So I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with it. It'll have like some standard features though, like a warp core and stuff like that. If you guys got any ideas, it's kind of a fun build, and I wanted to build something like this again. It's been a while, and but again, you know, at the end of the day, it's hard to figure out what to do with these kind of creations. You know, it's kind of like the a lot of the older Mercs too. You know, they don't have much of a gameplay purpose anymore, and that's kind of why I stopped building them, more or less. I think the MX-11 was the last Merc I made, and that was actually kind of wasn't even intentional. It was I started doing something else, and it wasn't doing the right thing, and I turned it into a Merc instead. Actually, it was when I was working on the Kydex, or the rebuild of Excalibur's ship, or kind of like a re-envision of it. And I ended up with the Kydex GT on that one, but the MX-11 was kind of a unforeseen thing that I liked the ship enough to keep it, but it didn't look anything like the original Kydex, so I kind of started over and used it for something else. Is basically what happened there. So yeah, anyway, this is kind of coming along. Hopefully it'll look nice and neat, and I'm trying to make it kind of like realistic-ish. One last thing I was thinking about doing though is modding these side wing pieces, basically beyond the point where the Gatling guns are. I was thinking about maybe doing a block roll separation, kind of like some kind of swivel thing. Maybe even cramming in another thruster going upward, or another lift thruster, to make it look like this whole end portion here actually would rotate. Even though it won't in game, but it would. I think a visual cue, it might look kind of cool if it looked like it could do that. It would kind of dial it in and kind of make it make sense, I would suppose. So then that would be kind of like some extra thrusters, you know, when you're landing or whatnot, that those would turn down, and you could do vertical takeoffs easier and things like that. But that's where I'm at right now. I got more to do. This is kind of where I stopped. You can see all the white areas, and then on the bottom of the ship as well. A little hard to see from here. So some other things I wanted to show with modules. All of a sudden, there's like some authors have been building some of these triple or quad modules. And start with, we got one over here by Allessia. And this is the Helios Faction Triple. I just seen this one this morning, and basically it's like you got one module and then the two pieces on the side. So you just dock the one module, and then in extension it fills in the other ports that are on the original Helios, which would go into these areas. The only thing I'm worried about is I'm on planet side right now, and I have a feeling. I was looking at the lift thrust on this, and that's why I haven't moved it yet. That this should be done in space and not on the planet, because I have a feeling as soon as I hop in this and try to fly it and dock it, that the two lift thrusts I'm seeing out here are probably not enough to do it. So I mean, I probably should do this planet side here, but let's try anyway. I have a feeling it's gonna fall to the ground now. Or oh, it's not. It's not falling to the ground. Holy crap! I expected it to fall to the ground. Okay. Okay. I am wrong. It's amazing how this actually is fitting though, because I mean it's like not just this ship, but the two ships on the side here too. And then bam. I think I'm pretty close. So see what's going on here. So we just landed there, but look what it did over on these other sides. Oh, and it's got doors to get into those too. Oh, that's really cool. So it wasn't just Allessia that thought of this. On the other side, there's another unit very similar to this, and this is the ultimate production module by oh my gosh, can I speak? Movado. And actually, Movado made a couple modules. Now this one's a quad, so it's basically got two full-size modules and then two of these. Now one thing I did notice though is I did for these to work, I had to remove the bottom bars on the original Helios, the 4-bay version, so these would fit. Although other than that, they would not. Like on the one that Allessia did, they actually do fit under or above those bars. So just to take a look at some of the specs on these, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with storage and whatnot. Let's also get over to some night lighting here to see what these things are looking like right now. But so yeah, when you walk into this thing, basically it's got, I don't know, just all kinds of stuff. You got a big medical bay in here, a whole lot of production area, constructors, armor repair, wow, look at that row of small constructors. I tell you what, I mean these modules are getting so crazy with so much capabilities and storage and otherwise that it's pretty crazy here. So here, let's get into here. So we're on the Helios faction triple cargo unit 20. So here's all the different storage units in here, and we're looking at a lot of I bet you a lot of 320k storage units here. So let's see, 21. How high does this number climb to? So guessing 21 320k storage units in this. And the neat thing, plus of course all the constructors and the other stuff in here too. Armor locker, armor repair, medical, you name it. It's got it all. Oh, toilet, bathroom, yeah, shower. More constructors. Holy crap! This thing is set up to do some serious production work. And it's kind of neat because it takes up the space of like one standard module, but takes advantage of these side pieces for like more space. I'm sure it's probably contributing toward the, well actually let's walk in these things. Contributing towards the overall storage. And it's kind of neat what was done here too, where these, you can gain access to the individual cargo bays here right from inside the ship. Inside of here, looks like more access to all these. Wow, all this was fitting in these little ones here. Wow. So yeah, there's two of these. So essentially, of course, you'd want to park in the front port with these, so you have one of these small bays on either side of it. But other than that, it can go on either side and work that way. Now this other one here is very, very similar. This is a production facility as well, and again, just loaded up with tons of, it's got some deconstructors, a lot of constructors, and an amazing amount of storage units in it. So we're going to flip over to the ultimate production one, and this one is actually rocking more yet. So if you take a look at all these containers in here, I believe we're looking at 60. We're right around 60 320K storage units, which is literally about the most I've ever seen, I think, on anything. And that all fits in, like, it'll take up one side of the Helios. So both module bays plus both small module bays. But it's just an amazing amount of storage in there, and it's all kind of linked too. So when you're in, and the same thing goes for the Allessia one, they're all linked. So when you're doing production, you've got like immediate close-hand access to all the storage modules in that, which it kind of ties them together, makes them a little bit easier to work with, I would say. So that is that. Now a couple other things. I wanted to do a little bit of recap on HV moving a minute too. So I've got these things here, and I'm thinking that pretty soon I'll get this one to the workshop. I was kind of holding back on it because I didn't like the way it was moving, and it felt, I kind of wanted it to be getting around a little bit better if I were going to release it to the workshop, because there's a lot of time and effort into this, and I'd hate to just put it out there and everybody's like, it's too slow, it gets stuck in everything, and I didn't like that, and it's kind of the problem I had with it. Although I think it, combat-wise, I think it's very capable of doing what it was meant to do, and that is essentially for a single player to solo a shielded tough POI, and that's kind of what this is for. It's like 2 or 3 tanks in one, more or less, and it's got a lot of firepower. It's not even taking advantage of any of the better guns. All these are stock turrets. It's just there's a lot of them, and the damage model on how this thing is set up is very much like the MCR and Scorpion, where the whole front of this can be blown away, and there's like nothing. It's pretty much open and hollow under here. Oh, and I just realized I don't have my modded version here. I changed this around, and I think I showed that on another video where I added hover engines going down the center, which helped with its stability crossing over terrain. But this is the original one. I must have not saved that. Ooh, my bad. But I just wanted to take it around again. I think there's been some kind of change to some of the stats here, and I just wanted to see where things were at right now. So I was just kind of testing its speeds and things like that. So it looks like we can do 49, I would say, in 3 directions. Well, okay, so 49, 49, and for whatever reason, maybe it's just a weird math thing, but it's saying 48 going one way and not the other. But other than that, I wanted to see, basically, I knew how bad this had gotten trying to climb hills and stuff, so I wanted to see how it's doing now with climbing hills. And let me make sure, and getting around like that. Now these are pretty easy hills to climb that I'm doing right now, but trust me, I was struggling with even those. Just kind of turning it here. I'm gonna get down to the ground. We're gonna turn around and we're gonna try to climb up a steeper bank here. Now my full turn speed is like this right now, holding down the arrow key. Again, these aren't the most devastating of hills that I've seen by any stretch, but again, the hill I just went up there was actually getting too much for it. So we're gonna see how we do on something steeper here. It looks like it's scooting over it a lot better than it was, put it that way. We're not going to be doing barrel rolls or anything, but I'd say it's definitely navigating the terrain better than it was. So I'm thinking something changed that's helping out with this stuff a little bit here. So I believe it's probably would be acceptable to get out to the workshop at this point. It's just like I said, it was I was having so many problems with it in gameplay that I didn't want to release something in that state. And there wasn't a whole lot I could do with it. And this is also the version that doesn't have the improved hover engine locations, so that's got to help a little bit too. Oh no, now I lost all the other vehicles. Where did I park everything? No! Alright. I guess it's right in front of me. I just can't see it. There they are. Okay, so in the other videos too, I did test these. I wanted to retest these to see where they're at. So the Scorpion, I was having a real hard time. I was unable to climb up the little bit of hills with it, and then my speeds were kind of weird too. So it looks like the speeds I'm seeing are. It did the last time I looked. It dropped down to like 35 strafing. So it looks like I'm at 39 strafing, 41 forward, 39 backwards. It does confuse me a little bit on why I do get different numbers at different directions. So because of the identical thrust on each direction. So for like 41 forward, 39 backwards, 39 sideways, and 39 well, basically either direction. So turning speed, holding down the arrow key, about like this. Let me get to full hover height. And then let's go, now I'll try to pull up nicely and try to scoot over these hills. But it seems to be getting around a whole lot better as well. But yeah, you're looking at about a max speed of 41 forward. And, but yeah, it's definitely better than it was. So I don't know if this will ever see 50 ms again in speeds, but seems to be pretty consistent at the 40, and you probably shouldn't get stuck anymore. Here, let's just pull up to like this here at a dead stop and see if I can power my way up it here. Yeah, I can now. Okay, so basically last time I tested it could not do that. It would get stuck trying to even make it up that hill. Same thing with the Phalanx Seeds tank, and also the same thing with the Scar Outrider. And literally I had no idea there was a game called Outrider that was being built when I named this. This was just I looked up synonyms and antonyms of something and came up with Outrider and thought it was very fitting. So on this guy here, this one was really struggling too, and I see now that the forward speed looks like it's at 30. Last time I checked, it was at like 22, I believe. So it has gotten faster. Strafing speed is, I guess it depends what angle I'm strafing at too. So maybe that has something to do with some of the fluctuating numbers that I'm seeing sometimes from right to left. Is the surface of the planet where I'm at that particular time. So strafing's not great. Forward speed at 30, not too bad. It looks like I'm able to, here I'll get to maximum hover height. Looks like I'm able to navigate the terrain a whole lot better than it was last time I tested it. Unfortunately, it's kind of slow, and this was supposed to be pretty quick. So all I can think is it would need, I guess, more thrusters in Reforged if I did want it to actually go faster, or better thrusters, put it that way. But that's not really workable with CPU. But because I needed to add a CPU block anyway, I guess on this, taking a look at the specs. So CPU, it does have a basic core block on it, and I got 10,000 CPU, and I'm only using 5,700. So it's got a lot of room to add a lot more parts, since it's has to go up a tier anyway. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what to do exactly with that. I guess I just kind of using it as testing. I believe this thing scoots really good in vanilla though. But yeah, that's where it's at. So I think there has been an improvement on the HVs getting around for sure. I mean, these are all behaving a lot different than they did last time. I did a video kind of showing them. So it's definitely in the right direction. I mean, if I were, well, I don't know, and I don't know, my judgment. Of course, I want more power for thrusters, but maybe that doesn't fit into the overall model. These are tanks and things like that, and maybe they're just not meant to go super super fast. But the weird thing is, this bigger, heavier tank is actually capable of higher speeds than the Scorpion is. So the Phalanx can outperform it, but it has a lot more thrust power too. The Scorpion was relying on 2 of these per direction, where this has, like even strafing, it has 5 of those plus another 6 of these 1x1x3 advanced thrusters per side. And of course, the reverse is the weakest on it, and that's always a problem for me, especially when you got a front facing like this. You have very very little room to put in any thrusters that aren't blocked. So I was able to cram in like 4 of these over here, or well, 2 per side, and then it literally had 2 blocks open where they weren't next to a turret on the entire front side of this, and I used them for some additional thrusters there. And that's literally it. It just has to do with how this center row came and split along the sides. But like, of course you could probably dump thrusters in other locations somewhere, but all of them would have to be like touching a turret, or you'd have to put them right up in the nose here on the ground, which is meant to be destroyed in the first place. So really trying to keep good parts away from the front of the tank. So what I'm thinking is sometime this week I will get this one finally to the workshop. Or, well, that's the thing. We got Excalibur's challenge coming up too, and the SV that I'm doing on the Helios over here is what I actually wanted to put for the challenge. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to get this one out first, but this one's a lot farther away from being finished. But if you guys can think of anything worthwhile for it, please let me know. So one last thing I've got over here is a Yamato ship. Now, this is the last time I really seen this ship. Well, I remember it when I was a kid. There was a cartoon series called Star Blazers, and it had this in it. And at the time, I thought that cartoon series was kind of ahead of its time, because everything else was like, Tom and Jerry or whatever. And this was like a continuous storyline, like through 3 seasons, where you always got to see what happened next, kind of thing. And it was really cool. I remember it was my favorite show of all time back when I was like 12. So this ship is kind of, although colored differently on this version, is basically what I remember from that show. It's a space version of the battleship Yamato, and it was kind of an anime type of cartoon, and it was really cool. Really, really dug the ship here. So author, Ruinshunter wanted me to take a look at this and see what I thought of it, or like tweaks and things like that. And well, to start with, I think the shaping's really pretty cool. I mean, there's little things here and there that might be able to be done or not, but it would require experimentation, like some angles. That is the thing with Empyrion, like a ship like this, to really make it dialed into the original model. requires a lot of shaping that's just not possible inside of Empyrion. You can't do the roundish or the big flowing angles that would be required to really do something like this right. Instead, about the best thing you can do is kind of what's going on here, where you're trying to simulate angles with like different shapes like that. Now, sometimes I'll kind of like change things around when I'm doing my own stuff. So they can, I don't know. Yeah, it's done pretty well though. I mean, it really is done pretty well. I mean, one thing that I might do, because one thing I don't typically like, and I know why it's done, is like if you're trying to simulate, like, this angle should really be from here straight over to here, and I get that. But of course you can't do it with blocks, so you do kind of this step tier kind of thing in between, like one angle's flat and the other angle. But a lot of times what I'll end up doing, rather than doing that, is I'll just bite the bullet. And for instance, let's see, are we using, no, we're using this angle here. Let me just, basically, I might just keep it all to one angle is what I'm saying. Even though that might not fit the original plan of you know what it might look like in the model form. It just keeps to me like a little bit better flow where you don't have that. Or sometimes when you get up to the top here, you could also swap that out with a like some kind of angled block here. Even though I don't think that'll necessarily work out. Well, it could. See, now it kind of looks like it's inset a little bit. So I mean, that's some ideas you could do, or you just bring that out to a full solid block, things like that. Now, little things too for added trim and stuff too on these. Sometimes you get into these big flat areas like this, and there's a lot of little things you could do here. Now, it probably doesn't match the original ship or you know what it's supposed to look like, but you could do a series of like adding little things over the top of it to, whoop, I meant to turn that this way, okay, like maybe something like that there, and little things like this, and then you can texture that individually, or, you know, on the flip side, you could cut into it a little bit. Sometimes these blocks are wonderful for doing that kind of thing, because you can kind of keep them all sealed off. So you could do stuff like that, which just adds some more detail and more areas that you could texture and things like that. Give it a little bit of that fine detail kind of thing, either like adding to it or changing some of the hull blocks in the process. And I do that all the time on literally everything. If you take a look at like what I've got going on here, it's a combination of doing both of those. I'm cutting into it as well as adding blocks over it. Then you get this, oh, I don't have those colored. Ah, I was supposed to be colored in there. Anyway, it could kind of see all the little thingies that I do here on my own creations with the same stuff. I'm cutting in with those blocks I just showed there. I'm doing some accents over the top with these other blocks. And yeah, there's a lot of painting that I have neglected here, I see now. And that is just what I do to try to get fine detail on things, so you can, you know, skin something, you know, where rather than just a flat surface, you're getting all this little stuff going on, which adds a lot of detail to it when you look at it. So I mean, the same thing could be done over here. Now, something else I noticed about this ship when I was taking a walk through it, and let me go to darker lighting again here, is basically I was running into some, you can't really tell too much at the time, but a little bit of performance issues with it. And it has really, it's not the ship or the architecture or anything like that, it just really has to do with the lighting that's in it. And I know it's got some big spaces inside of here, and you're trying to make it like illuminated and whatnot. And I made this discovery a couple times before, but so it's using a combination of spotlights as well as regular lights, and quite a few of them, sometimes in one single area. But that does, yeah, sorry about the sensors. That's because I'm in God mode. It's not your ship screwing up. It does it with everything. I don't know why that is, but basically, in some areas, the amount of lights in a single area is, I think, a little bit too much, and it will cause performance issues, especially using spotlights. Spotlights are pretty bad for performance. Now, I learned that with the MCR and Leviathan as well. I had such a large hangar area, and I had no way to really illuminate that area without the use of some spotlights. But then after I turned on the spotlights, I realized it was really it was causing performance issues. So in the end, I left the spotlights there, but I put them on a switch that was off by default, but allowed a player to turn on the spotlights if they wanted to, but I didn't want to keep them on stock because of the performance issues. And the ship was already, I mean, such a large ship that performance was going to be kind of an issue anyway, and that just makes it all the worse. So that's kind of what I was at here. So I was kind of touring this, and there's some other areas too that are, I mean, like over here, it's illuminated pretty good, but there's a high density of lighting in here. Oh, that one's not. Like having these lights along the walls there, and then like some more down over here, and then across the ceiling, and then of course on the opposing wall. Basically what I'm saying is I believe there's too many lights within a particular area. So what I would personally do trying to light this ship up is I would a lot of these lights I would think change their settings and remove probably at least half of them. Now you say, well, I'll be all dark and nasty then. Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Oh, what I wanted to do though is take a look at, see, like most all the lights are all in white too. They're not using the spotlight mode, and the range necessarily isn't the highest they could be. So when let's try to do something here. I'll just try to show an example of lighting up a small area here. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna get rid of like a bunch of lights in here to start with. Don't shoot me. I'll show you what I got going on here. So I'll like basically taking out like every other light. We're just leaving some of them in here. Let's take out like that one. So that's a sensor. We'll leave that one. This one's not on anyway, so we'll just take that out. And about the same idea on the other side. I'm just trying to line them up. Okay, so we don't want you. Now this will also significantly drop the size class of the ship too. These lights come towards a lot of size class. Okay, so now you could say, okay, you just removed a bunch of lights and now it's kind of dark. So next thing is let's change the lights that are here to something that might be able to illuminate more in a different way. Now another thing you can do too, like for instance the light that you used here. Let me grab some lights and these lights point straight forward. So basically they're pointing this way. It doesn't matter if you're not using the spotlight mode, but what I wanted to try is rather than having that model light, I'll put in this model light like that, and maybe I'll even drop it down a row and I'll put it there. So now this light angles the light beam about how the model looks like it would, so it's going to kind of shoot it off that direction. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change its settings here, and we'll keep it white like it is, but I'm going to up its range, and when your spotlight angle is the width of the light. It's not like pointing up or down or anything like that. It's like, for instance, here I'll for just showing, I'll take it up to its maximum intensity and we'll put a very small angle on here. I'll show you what that actually does. You can see now this light is making this on the floor. and that's a small angle, and that's what the spotlight angle kind of does. So if we were to take this and we were to jump this angle up above like 90, and we can take the intensity back down, you can see that this one light over here now is illuminating a whole lot more space. And especially if we did the same thing with this light, like let me put in this over here, and so much so that these bottom ones could probably be removed as well. And then we're lighting up this area pretty good that way. And that's pretty much what I've been doing with my ships too. So I could use a lot less lights and be able to light them up. Now sometimes too, a lot of times I will change the color of these lights because I kind of like that cool blue feel, especially with the human creation. So a lot of times I'll use like that. Or if I do use white, a lot of times what I'll do is not use the straight white, but the gray right next to it. And then you can kind of fluctuate with some of this stuff here too. And then you've got like some top lights. Now some top lights like this here. Let's just mess with that too. Let's convert this to a spotlight. Let's up its angle and its stuff there. Anyway, you can kind of see there's a lot of different ways you could play with this and try to make it work right for you, for whatever you're looking to do. But basically, the whole point is trying to use a lot less lights to accomplish the same effect, which will definitely increase performance, lower the size class, and other things like that. Now, you might not want this like blue look that I did here, but even if it was white, it could definitely be ramped up a little bit. So that's just something I was kind of looking at as in lighting. And the use of the big spotlights, you could keep those, but if you put them on a switch and maybe not on by default, then people can see if they want that or not on their ship. But basically, like the density of all these lights in here is just, it's so thick that it does cause frame rate to drop quite a bit, especially in a tight area. So that's pretty much all I was saying there. But other than that, it's really cool. Yeah, just at night it kind of illuminates. I'm not sure on the color scheme. I guess I was used to this ship back in the cartoon. This is my only reference of it. Is it was, I believe, kind of a silver blue, and then it had a red like bottom on it. Or like, I wouldn't even say silver blue. It was kind of more of a grayish blue, a military look, I think. And then red on the bottom. But yeah, there's an alternative color scheme to it. It's cool. It's cool. And that's about all I've got for today. I just kind of wanted to go over some of that stuff. I feel like I'm missing something though, and I know I am. Jupiter Vessel Corp had something here too, and I think I've got that mounted here somewhere. Oh yes, another module, the bovine. So this is another production module, and sorry about it. I meant to show this one at the same time as the other ones there. I just I had it mounted in. All these modules mount really nice. This is another massive production module, a single one, so it doesn't use the extra side pieces, and basically a whole lot of constructors and storage and everything else under the sun in here. Another big time production facility. Deconstructors. Taking a look at this one. Oops. Let's see. This is looks like it's got 4 inputs. Now, but what I noticed about this one, rather than doing like a whole bunch of 320s, and some of these are, but it's got a lot of things broken down in for organization. Like basically, when I'm scrolling through here, it's got like stuff for everything, like places for all different kinds of parts. Not everything is 320K storage, and they wouldn't need to be, depending on, like if you're just storing armor in this, you don't need a lot of space, so it's got 16 equipment boxes, but other things do have larger areas, like the fuel, another 320K there, oxygen 320K. I don't exactly know the total amount of storage in here, A lot of these are 320K, and then some of them are smaller, some are in between sized. Um, so basically, it's just a huge amount of storage and production again. Another standard size module. Um, so I mean, literally, yeah, all these modules and now these combo modules here too. There's more options than ever on these ships, and most of these, they all work with the original. The the multiple modules that I've got over here won't work with the 6-bay Helios, but there is another version that I don't actually have for this video. I just seen it on the workshop. It's got like 3 modules that join together for the 6-bay version of the Helios as well. So rather than the 2 small side ones like that, it would have just 3 that just give it a whole lot of module base, a lot of storage, a lot of support right away. And yeah, anyway, that's pretty much where I'm at for today. And my biggest problem that I've got right now is on this SV, just try to figure out what in the heck are you going to use it for. I mean, I wanted to make an SV that was bigger and had an interior and kind of neat. I used to build some bigger ones like that, and they're a lot of fun, and I could do something with the insides of them, like some of the transits and even some of the bigger mercs and stuff like that. And it's sort of that whole thing lost its way, and I feel bad because it was one of the certainly more fun things to do, and not to mention HV or small block interiors can look far better than CV interiors or base interiors due to the block density and size and things like that. So I just wanted to do something that was like more detailed. But then at the end of the day, it's like, well, I don't know what to do with a ship like this. And I kind of regret that it doesn't have more lift thrust, and maybe it could. Then I could at least make it move cargo around, but right now it does not have the lift thrust needed for its size. It's just got 2 of these 3x3x7 thrusters, I believe, and that's not enough really to add a whole lot of cargo to it. At least in Reforged. I would have to see what that would do in vanilla, but I know that my other like transit ships had a lot more lift thrust than this one does. So, but this was more of a less, I was thinking like some kind of, I don't know, cargo, troop transport kind of thing, but, you know, those don't normally serve much of a function in gameplay, but I guess that's not what this build's about anyway. It's not really trying to be like some super thing that everybody's going to want for some particular purpose in game. It's more just to build a ship that looks neat, or at least that's the goal at least. So, anyway, you all have yourself a good day. I will talk to you later.